Our guest speaker today is Mr. Vishwash Gaur, Web Delivery Manager at Bajaj Allianz Insurance Corporation Limited. Mr. Vishwash Gaur is a project manager with more than 9 years of experience in promoting IT and ITES strategic vision through strategy, design and architecture. He enjoys being a part of open source community and regularly participates in PHP, Joomla and active collaboration development. Apart from Microsoft Google Analytics certification, he owns a degree of Masters in Science in Information Technology. His daily life has included many roles including project manager, blogger, open source lover, and a motivator. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker, Mr. Vishwash Gaur. Over to you, Mr. Gaur.
Thank you very much, Mohini. I'm really glad to be introduced with all of you. And for today's session, I would like to start with the presentation right now without any delay. So I hope all of you can see my screen at the moment. So I'm moving with the Joomla presentation. Before we move ahead, I would like to tell you that Joomla has started with 1.0, then moved to 1.5, and then 1.6, 1.7, and nowadays it is in the version release which is called 2.5. Joomla has basically two different type of release cycles. One is called STS, which is the short-term support cycle, and another is LTS, which is the long-term support cycle. The difference between both of these cycles is the duration for which a support is provided by Joomla organization. For STS, it's 6 months, while for LTS, it is 18 months. So whenever you plan something with a particular version in the production, kindly consider that. For today's session, I personally feel that books are very good, but some of the books, when it comes to something learning new, trying something new, the books are really boring. And for this particular purpose, I'm trying to do something different today. So just sit back, relax, and let your human brain process something new. I'm going to add something new to this. For today's session, I believe that you have all these prerequisites. You should basically have the understanding of basic HTML, PHP, and MySQL. You should be having some interest in MVC, or maybe you just want to get rid of the procedural coding, because when you do a lot of procedural coding, it doesn't allow you for the easy debugging, as well as there is no good code reusability. So for that particular purpose, if you are looking with this presentation, and you must have a web server ready, because this would be an hands-on workshop. So whatever I'm talking about, if you try it at the same moment, it will give you a better idea of the things. And you should have already downloaded Joomla 2.5 package, which is available on the link which I'm showing on the screen at the moment. So let's move to the next. For the agenda of today, I would be covering a basic idea of content management system, Joomla, and the extensions. It would give you a starting point to learn about the Joomla. The entire presentation for today is mostly around the beginners who are into Joomla and or trying to do something better with the Joomla. In this presentation, I would cover the download and installation of the Joomla and Joomla extensions, and we would be covering the module development as well. I would try to cover the component development as well, but with the limited time, I might need to skip it. So when we talk about what is CMS, why use CMS, or what is Joomla and Joomla extension, it comes to our mind directly that we do a lot of static website, we do a lot of procedural coding, which is very, very repetitive, and we need to do it. We need to do similar things again and again. And for this particular purpose, something new should be added. And I would like to introduce the MVC concept for this. MVC, they said model, view, and controller. And if you are doing similar type of things, you want to do something quick, then you should start using the templates. So for the template purpose, we use the object-oriented code. It sounds really confusing, but for now, just understand that the object-oriented code will be around the functions and the classes, where you can call a piece of code again and again, and you can reuse that particular code again and again. While in the procedural code, if you want to do something, you have to write it 10 times or 15 times. And when it comes, the debugging and the testing and everything becomes really, really difficult. For example, if you are creating a page with a customer review shown on the first page, and then on second page, and then on third page. So in the routine procedural coding, you would need to put the same code on page 1, 2, and page 3 as well. But when it comes to the object-oriented coding, you would create a function which would be called on the page 1, 2, and 3. So that can be replaced with just a function call, and the maintainability of that particular function is much, much easier, because you can change it, update it at any moment, and it will reflect on all 3 pages, which doesn't happen in the earlier case. So the concept of CMS comes from here, where the people were doing a lot of procedural coding, and they realized that there should be a template-based system where they can do the repeated things quite easily. So framework arise, and based on the frameworks, a templating system with the templating system, a CMS arise, which is known as content management system. As per Wikipedia, I would like to just tell you that the content management system is much more easier than this definition here. The content management system, in the content management system, you can publish your contents, you can add it, manage, everything can be done dynamically. You can add your media, you can add further extension to this, which can enhance the functionality of your website or the web application which you are looking for. Nowadays, a CMS can be a blog, an e-commerce store, and much more than that. And so the question arises: why do we need to look for a CMS? The question for the CMS arises with a couple of problems. I have highlighted few of them, like the poor code structure issues. When we do a lot of procedural coding, it goes into the poor code. Sometimes we forget putting comment. Sometimes we do a direct call to the database, and sort of this. That particular code, when it is with the poor code structure, it is not even SEO friendly, because when you will be checking it in the validator for the HTML, you won't find it HTML or CSS validated. The internal site search is not available. Dynamic updates are not possible. So as I earlier said, that if there are 3 pages and you are putting reviews on all of those pages, then you can't easily manage all of them. The features are limited with the static website. You can't put add-ons so easily onto it. And since there are a lot of static contents and a lot of static pages, the cost to maintain really grows with the time. And in this situation, you would realize that if there are 100 pages for a particular website, like for an X company, it has 150 pages in it, and they just need to put a disclaimer on in the footer of this. It will take at least a day, because it has to be changed in all the pages. But if this is modular and you have a footer module with you, and you want to do it with just a single code, it will be done in a minute or so. So in this situation, the solution comes with the CMS, which is the dynamic content manager. Additional features can be added using extension manager. Low cost to maintain, because you need to work on lesser pages. very search engine friendly code because it is with standardized code. There are template management and of course, if you follow the a popular content management system like Joomla, you would notice that MVC architecture and other design patterns are very well followed in this, which really helps you in the long term. Now the question comes, what is Joomla? For the very beginners, I would like to say when people were deciding the name of Joomla. Okay, let me take you back into a little bit more history. Joomla actually originated from the Mambo. Mambo was the foundation who actually developed a Mambo framework or Mambo CMS. Later on, Mambo Foundation decided to move to a proprietary code, and then Joomla took place because the development team left the Mambo Foundation and they started their own CMS, which was called Joomla. So when Joomla was being founded, in the process of being founded, then they were coming across thousands of names, and one of the names came from the Swahili, which was the Joomla, J-U-M-L-A, which means all together. And in the phonetic way, it is called Joomla, which is J-W-M-L-A. Joomla is one of the PHP-based content management system, and one of the real power of this CMS is in the scalability and the flexibility. And this scalability is possible with the use of extensions and the content management it provides. Joomla lies on 3 different layers. As shown on the screen, it is the extension layer, application layer, and a framework layer. And module components and templates are on the top of the layer. These are the layer which provides the added feature to a Joomla CMS. The rest features are directly coordinating with the application. Joomla has different extensions. And why do we need extension first of all? First of all, we need the extension to extend the default functionality of Joomla. And there are different type of extensions. Earlier, there were 5 type of extensions like the component, modules, plugins, languages, templates. In the Joomla 1.6 onwards, we have added 2 more extension types, which is the libraries and packages. I'll quickly cover the components, modules, and all of these. Components are basically on-page extension, which actually covers the entire page, and usually it has a backend as well. Module is mostly a particular box or which is shown somewhere on the page. There can be more than one module on a page, but there can't be more than one component on a page. Plugins provide the backend functionality, while the languages are used to provide additional language support. It is very helpful in the translation. With the help of templates, you can change the look and feel of your website or the web application in a minute or so. The packages and the libraries are the newly added ones. The packages are the bundled ones, bundled extensions, where more than one extension types are coupled. Libraries provide support to another extension. So let's quickly start with the downloading and Joomla, installing Joomla, because I consider this presentation meant for the beginners. To download the Joomla, now you can possibly start the hands-on workshop as well, because for the rest of the slides, I would be covering mostly whatever you can immediately do on your computer as well. So you can download the Joomla from the given link on the screen. I have highlighted this particular package, which is the latest package, and you can download this package. Once you download the package, you'll find a GIF file, which you can simply unzip, and you would need to place it on the root or a desired folder on your web server. So say for example, I'll quickly go. I have created a folder in my D drive, and then htdocs, and then xampp, and under the htdocs. So you can see that, for example, I have placed my files here. So similar way you can place your files here. Then simply go to your file path, which would be something like http and the folder name, and simply it will automatically call the installation files. Based on this, you need to just select the language, click on the next button. It will take you to the next screen. Here the installation requirements will be checked if you have met all these requirements. It also provides some recommended settings here. Some might be yes, some might be no based on your server configuration. But as long as it meets the minimum requirements, you'll be able to click on the next button and it will move on. Here is the Joomla GNU public license. It's simply the license which is meant with the software. You have to accept it and go to the next. Next screen is for the database configuration, where you have to add your database details like the username, password, desired database name, and the table prefix. This table prefix feature has been added in the new versions after 1.5. So you have to define a table prefix for the security reasons. The another good thing with the Joomla is if you provide an authorized user details, MySQL user details, then Joomla will automatically create a database for you. You would need not to create a separate database using the PHP admin or something. Here are the FTP configuration. For most of the time you won't need it, because you don't want to connect your CMS and the FTP altogether. Sometimes. The one of the last screen is the main configuration screen, where you can set up the site name and admin login details for the database, for the backend. Sorry. Here is one more important thing. It is very useful for the beginners. Whenever you are installing this, make sure you click on the sample data sample data installation. It will actually install the sample data while you're installing the Joomla, and once you are completed with the installation, it will give you a sample website ready, which you can easily customize, change menu items, change contents, change some media, and you can go on with a ready to use website. Now let's move to the next. And then it is the last screen of the installation. You just need to click on one more button, which is the remove installation folder. Until or unless you remove the installation folder from your directory, you would not be able to access the site or the admin panel. So once you are done with this, you will be able to see your website once you click this button, you will be able to see this website in front of you. Similarly, if you click the admin button, you would be able to see the administration panel very easily. If you want more details on the content management, if you have set up your website quite easily, then I would suggest you to visit the docs.joomla.org, which is one of the great links in the Joomla documentation. You would find how to manage contents and how to do much more with this. You would be able to find a little bit more tutorials as well, which will allow you to get into more of Joomla. Now we come to the module and component, which is which is little bit focus of this presentation. So I try to cover what is module and what is component, and then we move on to the next slide. So as I said earlier, that modules are mostly used for the rendering purpose on the page, which displays like a box, or typically like a box, or could be anything else. A simple example for a module could be a login, a banner which is shown somewhere on the screen, or there could be a menu item which could be even the login, which could be the module. Apart from this, if you want to display some sophisticated information like the reviews and some related products, these could be your modules. So another question comes to in our mind: why should we use a module? First of thing, it can work as standalone. It doesn't need any database or something. If you want to display a static information at 10 places, you can simply do it using a custom HTML module. So As per this example, it is good for code reusability as well. And once it is linked with the component, it can have a database linking as well. So you can have a component in the backend, which, for example, stores and records the customer reviews, and you can simply show those customer reviews at any page whenever you want in the. That's it. So for the conventions, the module name should be in small letters. Yes, it is a convention. And the module name should have a prefix mod underscore. So mod underscore would be a prefix, and your module name could be anything. Obviously, you would need to skip the most common system names which are already in use. So here is the example of module. We have a menu as the module. We have a breadcrumb as a module. We have a login box as a module. We have some poll and some latest items, again the module, and the search box even as a module, and the another new section for this. The interesting thing with this particular search is it is linked with 3 different type of extensions. For example, if you are seeing this search box, it is a module, but the functionality of this is supported by a plugin, and when you see the search results, it is actually a component. So like I said earlier, there could be more than one module on a page, but there can be only one component on a page. So in this screen, there is one component, which is the content component showing on the screen. So if there would be search results, so there would be no more contents, only search results will be shown, and then that would be the next component. Module positions, yes, like I have shown on this particular screen, there are different module positions, and every module position depends on the template. And when you want to add a particular module position in template, you would need to use a code something like this. And this code will allow you to add a new module position in the template. You can find template file under the template folder, and whatever template you have created, there is simply a file called index.php, and you can add a new module position there. Yes, there can be more than one modules on a page. When you are working on modules and module positions, mostly in the templates, you would need to find module positions. If you are not working on the template side, there are other possibilities when you would need to define define a position to a particular module. So say for example, if you want to know where should I place my search module, so you would need to know what type of modules are all available there. What type of module positions are available there. So you would go to the Joomla admin panel. I would quickly go through this. You would need to go to the Joomla admin panel. Once you log in this, you would need to go to the extensions top menu and then select the template manager. Once you are on the template manager, please click on the options button. It would take you to this screen where you can enable settings to preview module positions. This particular new feature was added in the Joomla 1.6 version onwards. So before that, you were directly able to add a tag on the page URL, which was the question mark TP is equals to 1. But from 1.6 onwards, you will need to enable this here, and then only you can see the template module position, the module positions in the template using the shortcode. This is this is an added security feature with this method. So say for example, if you want to see the template positions, module positions in your template, you would need to enter your site address, then the page name if it is, and question mark TP is equals to 1. Yes, this is the shortcode which you should use. If you use this, it would reveal the module positions available on the template. All of these are the module positions. I hope it covers it. For the now let's move a little bit more into the development side of it. I'm trying to get more and more complex with the programming side using this way. When you create a module, it typically has 6 files in it. One of them is the module name.xml file. It typically stores the installation related information into the file. So whenever you install a new module, it will take the configuration from here and will do the necessary installation automatically. If you have set up some static configuration details, it will also be taken from this particular file. The next file is the module name.php. This is the initialization file for the module. So whenever a module is used on the page, this file is called at the first, and it creates a connection between all the other required files. So so it is not so in this particular case, you can assume it as a controller, and the next file comes helper.php, which can be your model, and then your views comes in the template folder, which can be your default, which is default.php. So for the helper.php, it simply has some static functions to use. There could be some very basic calculations. It usually doesn't. A module doesn't have the manipulation functionality at their own. They have to rely on the components for this. And if it is supported with a component, you can fetch data from database as well. Kindly note that there is an index.html file which is kept in all the folders of module. It is simply an empty file and created to ensure that directory browsing is not possible. So whenever someone is trying to open the directory directly, this particular file will get open, and the user won't be able to see the directory structure or the contents in it. Now quickly come to the component part. Like I said earlier, components usually take up the whole page area for the display, and these are considered as the mini applications, which brings a major functionality on the entire page or to the website. So like the content management is a type of component, banner management is type of component, and there are other components, like if you want to add the sitemap, you want to add an e-commerce functionality, you want to add a blog functionality, you want to add a forum functionality, you want to add newsletter functionality. So all of these are mini applications in their own nature, and you can add these functionality with the help of the components. The question comes again, why should we use a component when we can do something with the procedural coding? No. To add a more functional part, we should use component. And obviously there is a code reusability as well with this particular thing. You can handle a component from the backend for the data entry purpose, and you can use the component for the front end display purpose. So if there is, say, a banner management component, you can add banners from the backend, and it can be displayed using the banner module in the front. For the conventions of component, component name should be prefixed by com_, component name, for example, and yes, it should also be with the small letters. Same as the module, component position depends on the template. Usually in the content area, we place the component position. With the help of this particular code, a component position can be defined. There can be only one component on a page with this code. So if you take an example of the component, here is the banner management component. You create a banner in the backend. Banner is created, and then with the help of the banner frontend module, you place it at any defined position, and it reflects anywhere you want it. So this is banner, and then banner is created in the backend, and then a module is added, once a module is added in the front panel, it will be seen. Component structure is much more typical and complex than the module. You would be able to see a long list of files here, which I would cover gradually and with the more time. So for now, you can just have a look. There are a lot of files. I'm simply taking a Hello World component example here. So you have different type of controllers. You have different type of views. There are two different type of components. One for the website front end, one for the another for the website back end. So for the front end, you would see that there are typical controller views and model files, and for the website backend, there are typically again the model views controller files. We have added the language functionality as well here. So as you have seen in the beginning, the component could be multilingual as well. So now session comes. We have installed a Joomla on our demo server. We know that a basic website is ready with us. So things are ready with us. We just want to see how to further extend the Joomla, how to add a new functionality into the Joomla. So we would be installing some extension to the Joomla. To use some of the ready-made extensions, you can use the Joomla extension directory, which is available on the extension.joomla.org. And from this extension directory, you can download some of the existing extensions. Those can be used to simply add the functionality to your website or web application. To install an extension, simply log into the administrator panel, go to the top menu, extension manager, and once you click on this, you would come to this particular screen. Here, three types of installation options are available. You can either upload a package file, you can install it directly from the directory, or you can install from URL. This directory would be somewhere on your local PC or a network computer. This would be an online part. Install from URL would be an online URL where you can simply give the path of the zip file for the component, or if you have already downloaded the zip file, you can simply browse it here and upload it. Once the file is uploaded or installed with any of these methods, it will simply give a success message. For some reasons, you would notice that the success message is not shown or some failure is there. So you can possibly look into the exact reason that will be shown somewhere here on the screen. Instead of the success message, the failure message will be shown. For most of the components which are available on the Joomla extension directory, which is the JED, you would notice that most of the extensions are
Mr. Gore, Mr. Gore, I would like to interrupt you that your screen is not visible properly. It's breaking.
Okay.
Can you please do something about it?
Is it visible now?
No, not yet. There are some issues with your screen. Yeah, it is visible. No, there is some problem occurring with the display.
Okay. Okay.
I guess there is.
Is it now?
No, not yet. There is something with the software. Is it something to do with the highlighter software that you're using?
I guess that could be one of the reasons. I simply deactivate that particular tool.
Can you please refresh your screen and start that again?
I'm just stopping to show my screen, and then I will start it again. Yeah, please let me know if it works now.
Yeah, it is clear now.
Great. I think I was using the computer for a long time, so it was overloaded with the work. Okay, so I move on to the next part. Since we have already done the installation of the extension here, as I assume, the next screen for the post installation part goes to the components and extensions in the top menu. When you install a component, post installation, it will be shown under the components menu, and if you install a module, it will be shown under the module manager in the extension top menu. So if you click on if there is a module, a component, it will be shown in the list of the components menu. Since we have not yet added any new component, so we have to move to the module manager part. Once you click on the module manager, you would be able to see a list of available modules. You can use any of the existing module, or you can create a new module by clicking on the new button available there. Once you click on the new button, you would need to select a module type. There are different module tabs. We'll be covering a new module development here that will also be shown on this particular screen in some time. Once you create a new module, you would be able to add some settings to this, define a position, or set up some different other configurations to this. Okay, so let's move on to the actual task of the day, which is the hands-on workshop to develop a particular Joomla module and the component. For the component part, I would be skipping it a little bit more because I really want to cover the Joomla module development in detail for this. And it is very useful for the beginners, as it will help them to develop a very dynamic website with the help of Joomla modules. So let's create a module called reviews for this workshop, which will allow to display customer reviews on a page at a particular location or a particular position. We would start with a simple Joomla module where we would be displaying a static tags. Once this is done, we would be moving with a database linked module. So let's quickly go to the module of folder structure. If you are already with your installation, if you are already done with your installation, you would find that there is a folder on the root of your Joomla installation called modules. In this module folder, you would need to create another folder called mod_reviews, and in this folder you will need to create 4 different files like the mod_reviews.php. You can create a simple empty files for now. One is the mod_reviews.php, another is mod_reviews.xml, then next is helper.php and index.html. And we'll create a folder called tmpl that would be used for the template files. We'll create a default.php and index.html in it. As we already know that index.html is a blank file which is meant for no directory access. For remaining files, we move on. So I believe you have already created these files. So here comes the mod_reviews.php file. In this file, you have 4 different but major lines into this. If you are creating this module for promotion purpose or for reselling or for something else, you can simply add your license details on the top of it. And like this. And the next line is the define JEXEC or restricted access. This particular line talks about the no direct access. This particular line ensures that whatever URL you are accessing is through the Joomla application and not directly. So how does it mean? Say for example, you have created a file, say mod_reviews.php. So in the folder structure, it is located on say for example yoursite.com/modules/mod_reviews reviews/mod_reviews.php. So if you try to directly access this particular file, it won't allow you. So with the help of this, you can block unwanted connections, unwanted access to your files. And yes, it is with the help of Joomla conventions, with the help of Joomla syntax. So we should use it like this. For the further detailing part, we can possibly cover it separately. Then the next line is to include the helper file in the module initialization file. Here we are simply using a convention which is saying the directory name file. It automatically routes to the directory of the module, and then the directory structure is called, and then the helper.php is called, which means instead of calling it helper.php, we can call it anything .php. But for better understanding, we should call it helper.php, and we should keep the name conventions similar, so that any developer who is using it in future or updating in future can do it very easily. So this particular file particular line is very, very important. It allows the database connections, database queries, and some simple calculations whenever we want. The next line is to load the helper class and the helper function. So here is the helper class, which is the mod reviews helper, and then this is the helper function, which has some parameters with this. These parameters are not intended for this particular workshop, but I'm keeping it for the future reference. So whenever you want to use some parameters, you can put it up somewhere. So what exactly is happening? This particular class is calling a particular function, and when this function is called, the value will get transferred to this variable, which is the $reviews. And once we have the values in the $reviews variable, we can simply pass it on to the template file, which is loaded in the next line. It is calling the module helper file, and then the layout is loaded, and the default file, which is the which is there, is called up. So your default.php in the template folder will be called up, and this value of $reviews would be available in the template for display purpose. So I'm just marking it again, the $reviews, so you can ensure to check it and see it again in the template file. So this is the further detailing of it. For the first line, I have possibly covered it, so I'm skipping this particular line. It simply prevents variable injections and other potential security concerns. The next line is for the helper class to include. We add the necessary functionalities and the added features to this, like the database connection queries. I'm skipping it as well. Then the third line, which is here, it allows to invoke the appropriate helper class, and data is retrieved from. So as we have seen it, the $reviews would contain the data which is invoked and retrieved from this particular class, and by using this particular method or function. And this is the final file to include the template, and it will use to display the output. So we have completed one file, which is the mod_reviews.php, and the next is the mod_reviews.xml. By default, this is the file structure which we should follow. Here we define the XML version with it. Then the extension type is defined like the module. Yes, there can be different type of extensions like the module, component, plugin, or could be anything. So whenever an extension file is uploaded, it should tell the Joomla system that it relates to a module or component. And then the version is there. This version talks about the version compatibility. Like if it is 2.5, it would be compatible with it is meant that it would be compatible with the Joomla 2.5. If it is 1.5, it is meant that it would be compatible with Joomla 1.5, and so on. And then the client side is there. Site says that it is for the front panel. If it is admin, then it would be for the admin panel. There could be method upgrade, or you can simply skip it. It is not required. If you want to upgrade a particular module, you should put it like this, or you can simply skip it. Then the module name is here. Whatever module name is here, it will be seen in the backend of Joomla, where under the module manager you would be able to see that particular name. So try to keep it more and more understandable, so you can understand it and recall it whenever you want. Author name could be anything. You can keep your name. This version is for the module version. Kindly note that it doesn't relate anything. It doesn't have any relation with the Joomla version. You can put it 1.0 or 0.1, whatever as per your development cycle. Then the description, it is a little bit detailed. So whenever you install it, use it, you would be able to see details of your module, and you can simply recall what kind of work it does. And there are some files are included and folder. In Joomla 1.5, 2.5, you will notice that the files are wrapped with the files tag, and then file name and folders are mentioned there. One of the major difference between Joomla 1.5 and 2.5 is that the Joomla 1.5 was using install instead of the extensions, and each file in every folder was to be defined while creating an XML file, which is meant for the installation purpose. But in 2.5, you just need to name the folder, and all files inside the folders will be automatically included during the installation. So it actually helps in the last coding. And what's better? So it tells you, so it is further detailing of this screen. It tells you the extension type, version, client side, and the methods. I already talked about this, so I skip it now. These are the files which are included during the installation. So all of these files will be called and included and utilized during the installation. So if there is a component, you can even add your SQL files into this XML file, and with this method, when a particular component is being installed, necessary database table creation and other necessary actions would be performed automatically during the installation. So here I have highlighted the difference with the Joomla 1.5. You can see the installation type, file name, and install. These three things are different for, in 1.5 and 2.5. So I quickly go back to the screen. Here you see the extensions, and you see the folder name just for once. No other file inside the folder is included. But when you come to the 1.5, you see install instead of the extension, and each file has to be defined. So this way, 2.5 is much better in the handling of the code. Now I'll come to the next file of the module, which is the helper.php. This file can have as many as functions you want. It simply depends on how much complex you want your module to be. So for this particular workshop, I would keep it very simple. In the mod underscore reviews.php, we have defined some basic files to be included during the initialization of the module. In the mod underscore reviews.xml, we have included the information of files and the settings which would be used during the installation, and this helper.php file would be used for further calculations, further handling, or further calling the data from some source like the database. So here I have created a class, which is the class mod reviews helper. You would see that this is R and H are in the capital mode. Yes, it is for a better visibility. So whenever you create a class, it is much more visible that what kind of work it is doing and what type of class or file it is. So here you can see that this is related to the mod reviews, and it is an helper class. In this helper class, I have created a function which says get reviews, and some parameters are passed. You can or you cannot. In this particular workshop, these parameters doesn't mean anything. So whenever this particular class is called and this function is invoked, loaded, then it will simply return one static line which says I am a happy user. There are no dynamic programming in this particular module. I'll try to add more into this in the upcoming slides. So it will simply return one message, one static message, which is I am a happy user. And the last thing for this particular module is the index.html. You can keep it blank, or you can add a dummy tags to this with the white background color. It is very easy and meant to prevent directory browsing. Then inside the template folder, which is the tmpl folder, we have a file called default.php. You already know that this particular line is used to prevent the direct access of the page, and then we are printing the user reviews. Here we are printing the user reviews echo $reviews. So whenever this template is loaded, it will call this variable, and the variable value will be shown on the screen. Now you would notice, and as I highlighted previously, that in this template folder, this particular variable is not defined anywhere. So how does it work? Let's go back to a little. This is the helper.php where we call a class and then a function, and this value is provided, is returned. So if I go a little bit back again, you'll see that here helper file is loaded. You invoke the function here, so value is transferred. So value of when this function is called, the value will be returned as I am a happy user, and this value will be transferred in the $reviews variable. And once this information is transferred in the $reviews variable, with the help of this template, it will be transferred to the template, and it will be shown. So I come to this screen. Okay, I got a message that the screen is flickering again. So I am refreshing my screen. Please hold for a second. I'm connecting it. Okay, so I'm back on the default.php page. You can possibly, the screen is better now. So now you can realize this $reviews variable and how the value of I'm a happy user is being transferred to this variable. So I go to the next screen with this. This is the index.html, which I have already covered. You need to keep it in every directory of your module to prevent direct directory browsing. You would notice, and most of the people like myself find it very difficult when they move from 1.5 to 2.5, or they simply start doing something new into the 2.5. Because what happens when you use Joomla 2.5, it doesn't allow you to directly access the module which you are developing in the directory. In Joomla 1.5, whenever you start creating a module in the directory, it is auto-detected and you can start using it immediately. But for 2.5, you would need to discover a new module or any extension explicitly from the admin panel. So let's see how it is done, because it is one of the commonly asked questions which I have noticed. We'll go to the Joomla admin panel. Then since we have already created a module with the base information with us, so we can possibly discover it very easily in the admin panel. So we go to the Joomla admin panel, and then we go to the extensions top menu, and then extensions manager, and then on the discover tab you would need to click on the discover button. My arrow is on the wrong button, so kindly ensure that you click on the discover button only. And post clicking the discover button, you would be able to see that this reviews module is added to the list. And using the installation button, you can simply install it, and it's just like a breeze. You have created a simple module, you have installed it, discovered it, as well as installed it, and now you should be able to use it as well. So how to use this particular module on a particular position, and how to see the results. Let's go ahead. So I'm going to display the module in the front end. How? We'll go to the extensions module and then module manager. Once you are on the module manager screen, please click on the new button. When you click on the new button, you'll notice that your new module is being shown in the module type list. Click on the module name. It will take you to the configuration page where you can set up your configurations. Here on this screen, you can define any title. This title can be shown or kept hidden when as you want, or as per the need, or as per the look and feel you want to keep. Then you need to define a position for the particular module. Since I'm using the bees_20 template, I am defining a position 6 into this. Kindly ensure that whenever you are creating a new module, it is assigned to a position in the active template only. Because what happens, I have noticed one of the common issue that when you have 4 different templates, accidentally you define a position in a different template, and you don't see a module in the front panel at all. So kindly ensure that it is in an active template and a defined position. Then you can have other details like this. Here is the module descriptions, which is coming from the XML file. You already know this. And then you can do the module assignment. This module assignment is very useful feature. Using this with the help of just few clicks like this, you can define on which page you want to display a module. So if you select a position 6 and you select say related items and article categories page, then on these on only these 2 pages your module will be shown at position 6. For the rest of the pages your module won't be shown at all. So this is very dynamic feature. You can display your modules at any desired position or at any desired page with this. Once you are done with this, click on save or save or close. Your module will be saved, and you will be able to see it in the front end. So let's go to the front end. Call yoursite.com or whatever is your Joomla installation URL, and you should be able to see your module something like this. So here is the position 6, and I can see the module added as, and if you remember, in the helper.php we had a function called get reviews, which was returning a value, a static value, I'm a happy user. So this happy user value is being transferred from helper to template file, and it is shown here. So similarly, you can have much more complex module in your project. So let's move. So as I said earlier, if you can't see the module, please make sure that you are selecting a correct position in your default or active template. If you still find an issue, you can post it in the forums or connect with me at any time. I would be happy to help you for this. Okay, let's go a little bit more crazy with this. We'll be doing some advanced programming now. We'll be adding a database support into the module. In the previous example, we noticed that a static custom review was shown, and now if you want to display 10 different reviews dynamically in a random fashion on a page, how to do that, and this example will give you an idea how you can add much more advanced functionality to your module. Using this simple example, you can create n type of modules at your end. So first steps goes with the PHP You need to go to the PHP go to your Joomla database, which you have just created, and create a simple table called reviews. Your prefix could be as per rest of the rest of the tables in your database. So it would allow you to automatically call the table in the database if you keep the same prefix and all. And for the demo purpose, we are adding 4 different fields into this, which is the ID, name, city, and feedback. And I'm trying to keep it very, very simple. So I'm adding a new table into this, site reviews. I'm keeping 4 fields into this, and I click on the go. The next screen would be to add fields into this. I am adding ID, name, city, and feedback. Kindly excuse, this is the feedback, not reviews. And once this is done, you will be able to see your table is created. And once table is created for the demonstration purpose, I'm adding records directly into the database table so that we can see it in the front panel. In actual production environment, you shouldn't add your records directly into the database table, but there should be a component supported where you can add records from the backend, and these records can be seen with the help of module in the front panel. So for example, banners could be added using a component in the backend, and using a module, it can be seen somewhere on the website. So as I said, I have done some dummy entries into the database directly for the demonstration purpose. Where's the test user? I have entered the name, city, feedback for 2 different entries. Now we see the previous example as well as this is a new added code here. So I would try to keep a relation with the previous example so that you can see how many changes are there and how to go a little bit more advanced from the previous basic example. Here we have changes in 4 different locations. We don't need to touch the XML file because there are no major changes required. There are some minor changes in the mod_reviews.php, some major change in the helper.php because earlier we were simply returning a static value saying I'm a happy user, but this time we'll be connecting with the database and we'll run a query and records will be shown up. And there will be a minor change in the default.php file, and a new template file will be added called reviews.php where the complex display of complex display of the reviews will be done. So here is the mod_reviews.php file. Rest everything is the same. I have marked this in the purple color. This particular line is the previous line. So here instead of the reviews, we are now calling the rows. We have defined a different variable. It could be kept even reviews. It doesn't matter. But for better understanding, we are keeping it rows. So what would happen? I'm assuming that the class, helper class will be called, and then the function will be called, and this function will return some rows to me, and these rows will be database rows will be stored in this variable, and then these will be transferred to the template. So as I said, there is no change in the mod_reviews.xml file. It will remain the same. And this is the old helper.php to just remind you that what we had done in the past. So we were just having a class and then a function, and then a simple tags was being returned. Now this time we are not returning the tags, but doing much more sophisticated database connection, database query, and whatever data is coming up, we are rendering it to the template. And how it is being done? The class name is the same, the function name is the same. There are few additional items where we are using the Joomla syntax. Here we have one new line which is defining the limit of number of items to load from database. It could be anything. It doesn't mean to be this way or some other way. You can simply add your numbers or something, but for the better purpose, it should be kept separately like this. So you can fetch 10 records at a moment. You can fetch 5 records or so. The next line is for the database connection. This is the Joomla syntax and conventions. So instead of writing the connection strings for database, we are simply calling the getDBO function, which is the inbuilt function of the Joomla. And with the JFactory class, we are having the connection string transferred to the $db, and these details are used to run a database query. We have a simple query which is saying select a star from hash underscore reviews. And you notice that there is one hash. This hash represents the prefix. So whatever prefix would be of your database tables, it will be replaced automatically with the hashtag. And then there are two underscore signs. One underscore is for the default, and another underscore is coupled with the hash sign for the prefix. So here we run we set a query to where the query value is coming from here. Starting from the 0, we are having the limit of this, which is coming up from here, and the limit is 10. So 0 to 10 records will be fetched. And then we have rows variable where objects of from this database tables are being transferred. Once this is done, and if any error comes, we have a very basic exception handling sort of thing. So if any error comes, it will simply raise a warning with this. And if everything goes right, we'll simply return rows. Earlier, instead of returning the rows from the database, we were simply returning a simple text. So this time, we'll return rows. Okay, I guess the screen is flickering again as I got the information. So I would change it again. I have stopped it, and okay, I have stopped it and I started this session again. So this time we are transferring the rows, and this is the part 2. This is the part 1 of the helper.php, which actually loads the values from the database, and then the second is which actually renders the values to the templates. So here we are creating a function called render reviews, where the reviews values and additional parameters are being transferred. Here we are using a new line. This particular line does not mean to be used for this particular module, but it is for the future reference. Here you would notice that a particular link is being created. A variable is created where we are transferring the link of a component. So if we want to create a component similar to this module, like I said, that the values for the reviews should be entered from the backend using a component. So if we want to connect it with a component, this component would be used here. So it could be used like this. In the module, you can display two reviews, and a view more link could be given there, which will be routed to this particular link. At once clicked, it will take you to the component page of reviews, and all of the reviews can be shown on that particular page. And then finally we are calling the template view for the display purpose. It's simple. Yes, I understand that there would be a little bit complexity for the people who are doing the core PHP, but once you would be into this, you would gain more and more into this. And I really understand that it is a little bit complex from the starting point. So for the beginner purpose, I'm trying to cover the basics of this, and then gradually we can understand more difficult part of it. And now is the default.php file, which was there previously. Here we have the file for the line from the last file, which is the echo $reviews, and it was simply passing the value of I'm a happy user. This time we are not using this line. Instead of this, in the default.php, we are using a file. One thing which I forgot to inform you here, you would notice that we are calling a template view here, and there is another thing which is being called in the separate line. So what will happen? This particular file will call a particular template view, and it will be shown up there. And this is the next file. So this template file is the default.php, and it has a simple for loop, which is basically calling the helper file and the function of the helper file, and from this it is transferring the database rows to us. And default.php will store these values, and then it will be used in the new file, which is the reviews.php. In this file, you can see there is a little bit more complex coding this time. Not actually complex, but it is coupled with the HTML code, so it looks complex. So we had three different fields in the database. One is the name, city, and feedback. So we are using those fields to display in an HTML wrapper this time. So here is the echo UC words. It will do the uppercase of the first letter of the name, and then we have same for the city, and then we have the word wrap. You would notice that to display the name or the city or the feedback, we don't need to do anything complex or anything special. We don't need to run a for loop, and we don't need to do a long programming into this. Using Joomla helper and the Joomla conventions, we can do it much more easily. You'll be surprised to see this 130 here. This 130 is the wrapping function, word wrapping function. So whenever your text size would be longer than 130, it will be wrapped and will be transferred to the new line. So let's see this. This is the view with the dynamic records. You see that two records are called from. Yes, the design can be improved, but you can see that the task user with the Delhi city and the first record is seen here, and then the demo user with the second record is seen here. I would like to recall the previous page where we were seeing just one record. So if I quickly go to the original page, you can see that one static line is being seen here. But now when you have connected with database, you can see much more records here. You can even link it with a component, and then a component details can be, component page can show more reviews. So you got a basic idea of an advanced module now. For the component development, I would need to skip it because the time doesn't allow me to include this particular part. I had already came through a Joomla 2.5 tutorial for the MVC component, and the link is given in this slide here. you can probably use it later at your desire, and it has a very good documentation for the component development. So I'm excluding it because there is no need to reinvent the wheel. Now for the FAQs part, I had a couple of questions with me, so I'm trying to cover them here, and then we can move to the questions and answers sessions. So one of the basic, I was asked frequently that what is the basic database structure between 1.5 and 2.5 versions. For the extensions perspective, I have noticed that earlier we used to had hash modules and hash components tables, which were separate for the components and modules, and similarly for plugins and so on. But nowadays in the 2.5 version, everything has been merged into the one table, which is the $_extensions table. So this way it is much easier to manage extensions in a single table, and handling is much easier now. The next FAQ is I was able to create and load modules easily in 1.5, but I can do the same in Joomla 2.5. Yes, because in 1.5 version you were able to see the modules and see the modules with the auto detection facility, but for 2.5 modules are not auto detected. To keep improved security, you need to discover a module, which I have already discovered in this workshop. So you can possibly try this with the discover button. The another question is are too many modules a problem for the Joomla side? I particularly think yes, too many modules or too many extensions are really a problem for any CMS. Either it is Joomla or Drupal or WordPress, because if you add too many extensions on a page, then it increases the loading time of the page. It puts an extra load, because for every extension or module, number of database calls, database requests will be made, and it will increase the page loading time and definitely will affect the performance as well. Does the extension need to be compulsory and open source code? No, it shouldn't be. You can keep it closed source. You can encrypt the entire code and you can sell it like many other people do it. But ideally it is the same as is open source, and the entire idea of Joomla is a community. As the name says, all together or as a whole. So when we are talking about the community, it should be open source so that more people can contribute into this, and they can help you to improve your extension module, whether it is module or component. The another frequent question is, do I really need to switch to Joomla 2.5 from Joomla 1.5, and why? Yes, you should. As I started in the very beginning, that there are two types of releases, STS and LTS. 1.5 version is the LTS version, and Joomla has officially stopped support for it from April 2012. So if any code level issues comes up, Joomla Foundation won't be supporting it. However, there would be forums and community always there, but won't be supporting. So for the benefits of new security features, new added features, you should migrate to Joomla 2.5, and you should migrate your existing modules, components, and everything to Joomla 2.5 as and when you get chance, but try to make it early. If you want to learn more about the Joomla extension development, yes, there are a lot of resources, but one of them is very authentic and useful is the docs.joomla.org. You would find tons of information over here, and you would be really surprised that Joomla organization has gathered so many information to use here. And the last question, last FAQ for the day is, can I use jQuery framework in the extension development while Joomla uses MooTools JS framework? Yes, Joomla uses default MooTools, and you would notice it when you would be using the admin panel and other parts of the default Joomla templates. And yes, you can use the jQuery with it if you want to add some functionality to your module. Yes, you can use it. Usually it doesn't conflict because there is an inbuilt feature nowadays. But if in case you find any issue with the with the conflict, and your either your jQuery or Moodle based code doesn't work, then please add this code snippet into the head section of your tablet file. It would do the necessary no conflict handling for you automatically. Now please feel free to ask any relevant questions regarding this webinar. I would be definitely happy to answer you. So if you have any question, kindly let me know. Okay, so I believe
Mr. Gore, please read the questions in the chat pane and answer them. There are questions in your chat
okay.
pane.
Okay, I'm trying to find the questions, but unfortunately in the chat window, I don't find any question. Can you please send it again to me? Unfortunately, I don't find questions.
You can undock the chat pane and resize it, and you'll see the questions.
Okay. Okay, I have unlocked the chat, but maybe for some technical reasons, I'm unable to see any questions into this. If there is any question, you can send it to me at my blog, which is vishwasgard.com, or you can simply find me at Twitter.
I have assigned you questions. Please resize your window and see them. Please enlarge your chat window and you'll see the questions. I've already assigned you the questions.
Okay. Okay, yes, I can see it now. I'm a little bit new to this, so it will take a few moments for me to get settled with this. Okay, so I have a couple of questions now. One of the question is from the Rupesh, who is asking, I want to develop a job components. So what is the requirement for Joomla? Dear Rupesh, basically I would like to understand much more about what kind of job components you want to understand, you want to create. But basically for the basic structure, you would need to create a component for the front panel as well as for the back end, where you would allow admin to add job vacancies from the backend. If I understand, this is the requirement for your component. You would allow you would allow job vacancies to be added from the backend, and the list of job vacancies will be seen in the front end using the front end component. So there will be two different. There will be one component which will have two different parts of it, one for the front end and another for the back end. So I write it here. So basically it would be like this. I'm not mentioning it due to the limited time. I move to the next question, which is from the Akshay. He's asking, I have not worked on Joomla, so how to start learning Joomla at the beginning? Yes, this is very good question. You have not yet started. You can possibly join some of the some of the webinars like this, and you can have some reference links which I would be sharing at the end of this presentation. I would share some of the good links where you can go and access the information and learn Joomla, which is very easy. So you can possibly move to that. There is another question from Mohammed Wasim, who has actually laughed from this. The question is, what is the difference between a CMS and a framework? Very good question. There is a very little difference between the CMS and the framework. The one of the major difference between a CMS and the framework is CMS allows you to handle the content and focus all around the content. So the content could be type of text, media, image, or whatever it is. But when it comes to framework, it actually helps you in the rapid development or the programming. It allows you to use the piece of codes repeatedly, with which you can do it. So so another question comes here: is Joomla a CMS or a framework? For me, Joomla is a CMS as well as a framework. And how? Because with the CMS functionality, you can do the content management, you can handle your features, everything is there, and it acts like framework too, because you can extend the functionality of it with the help of some custom extensions. So next question is from Mr. Prasad Nanavare. He has this same question with a different mode. The question is, what is the main difference between Joomla CMS and Jane framework? The answer is almost the same, so I skip it for now. The next question is from Sanjeev Kumar. He says, can we connect Joomla with Oracle? If yes, let me know how we use Oracle as backend. Well, yes, it can be done, but you would need to do a lot of custom programming for it, because Joomla is default available for the MySQL and MySQL tags. There is one custom extension built for the Oracle. I exactly don't remember the link for to share with you at the moment, but yes, it can be done. And the process for it is a little bit more complex, so possibly we can talk later or separately from this workshop, and I will try to answer your questions in detail. The next thing is from the Gaurish Patel is the how to manage permission for Joomla directory for better security of a site. Ideally, no directory should be given a 777 access, which is the read-write access for the directory. No directory should be given. But for the template and the dynamic module management, you would need to provide 775 access, which is for the read-write and limited access for the directory. With this approach, you can do a little bit security as well as can prevent the direct injections to your directories, and nobody would have the read-write execute access in the full manner. Next question is from the Ashish Kaushik, who is asking, is there any difference between 1.5 and 2.5 file structure? And another question from here is from Ashish is, does the basic syntax and rules for component development remains the same in 2.5 as it is used to be in 1.5? Well, the file structure, if you talk about the directory structure, it is almost the same. Some conventions have been changed a little bit, like when we were creating components in 1.5, we need to keep our initialization file name like com_component_name.php for the front end and com_component_name.admin.php for the admin panel component. But in Joomla 2.5, we can use the same name for front end as well as the back end, which could be like com_component_name.php. This actually allows an easy handling of the code. And apart from this, yes, there are a few more changes. This is one of them. The second question from Ashish is, does the basic syntax and rules for component development remains the same? Yes, it is almost the same. Exactly, it doesn't. It is not the same. There are some minor syntax changes which are imparted into the Joomla 2.5 for the better handling and better function calling. The next question from Indrajit Bhattacharya is: can we create a website whose front end stuff that get rendered on browser is developed in Joomla and backend code in Java, C++? If I understand correctly, Indrajit, I think you are trying to integrate two different systems. You want to display something in the website, and the backend is from the Java. Yes, you can possibly do it. You would need to create a component which would integrate with your Java-based systems. You would need to create some web services or some API calls for it, which would fetch the data from the Java-based system and will be rendered in the Joomla-based website. I got a couple of questions, couple of other questions. One question is from the Manhar. Manhar has asked a question: what is a breadcrumb? Yes, it is very interesting questions, and I've been asked a couple of times this question. If we remember our childhood times, we would remember that we used to eat a lot of breads, but we used to eat we used to laugh the outer part of the breads. And that particular part was used to create a line to play games and sort of things. So that particular line is considered in some other way in the new systems, in the CMS, where breadcrumb defines the navigational structure of a particular page. So say for example, if there is a site, say xyz.com, and then you have a category says Indian sarees, and then you have a particular product called Banarsi saree. So what will happen? The breadcrumb would be a trail, a path of all these things. So it would be seen on the page, or would create a navigational link between all these pages, like the home, and then the category, and then the product. It helps in the SEO as well, because whenever Google comes to your page, it finds the standardized coding, and breadcrumb is considered one of them. One of the good things which I would like to tell Manhar, that you can possibly use the RDF, which is the Resource Description Framework coding, and with the help of some rich snippets, you can add much more functionality to your snippets, and that will give good impact in Google search as well. So the next question is from Indrajit. He is asking, how can we call a web service from the front-end component? What protocol, SOAP or NVP? Yes, you can do it using the SOAP, but to define the method of how we can do it, that would be much longer than the scope of this webinar. So I would like to cover it separately. The next question is from Akshay. He's asking, please explain Joomla module development again. Yes, I would be happy to, for it. And for this particular purpose, this presentation would be available on Monday onwards, now where you would be able to see the entire presentation again. Apart from this, there are some references at the end of this presentation which you can use for Joomla module development. Next question is from Balaji. He's asking, is there any tool for development of module and component? If I'm understanding you correctly, you are asking for the IDE, which is the development environment. You can use any tool, whatever you want. It could be a simple notepad, it could be a Dreamweaver, it could be Komodo Edit, or it could be any other in any other IDE. It simply depends on your ease of use. I got a question from I guess Mount Empty. He has asked a question: how to make a CRUD component? Please hint something live. If I understand the question correctly, it is not the CRUD component, it is the CRUD component, which is the CRUD, which is the create, read, update, and delete. And it is, I have already shared this question on the presentation page. So I want to answer it again. Kindly look into that answer on the presentation page. Next question is from Reniz Ahmed. He says, will the modules developed for older Joomla versions such as 1.5 continue to work in 2.5? No. 1.5 modules won't work with the Joomla 2.5 as long as they are a little bit complex. If there is a flat coding, yes, they will work. But if there are a little bit more complex coding, they won't work directly. You would need to perform the migration by changing the syntax, by calling the functions in a different manner as per the 2.5 standards. And the next question is from the Kashiraj. He's saying, thank you very much for a good webinar, which was very useful for the beginners. Keep up the good work. It will be helpful. Okay, so I come to the next part, last part of the question. The question is, please let us know how to contact you after the webinar to ask any question. You can visit my blog, which is vishwashgaur.com. That's my name, vishwashgaur.com. Or you can contact me on via Twitter at Vishwashgaur, which is my total name, full name. Next question is from the same person, is Kashiraj. He's asking, is Joomla is integrated with the Smarty template? In earlier version, Joomla was meant to be working with the Smarty concept, but gradually the concept has moved to a little bit different. Yes, it is using some part of the Smarty template concept, but not completely. And in the present manner, there is no relation with the Smarty as of now. Next question from the same person is, how can I create this string for internationalization or localization? Example, if I want to show the question like, what is the product you are looking for? For this particular thing, you would need to create a language file, which is another extension type, and this extension file will be added in your relevant module or component. For more details, we can separately discuss about this, because it is not in the scope of this webinar. But yes, it is possible, and to give you a reference, you would need to create language file which would store the constant values, and constant values will be defined in the language files, and these constant will be called and used in your relevant component or module. Next question is from the Gaurish. How to manage permissions for Joomla directory for better security on site? I have already answered this, so I skipped this one. Another question from Akshay is to explain the Joomla module development procedure again. So I've already covered it. We would be posting this presentation on the Monday. I would try to share this presentation on SlideShare as well. So you would be able to see it immediately right after this presentation, as well as with the help of TagGeek, it would be available on taggeek.com on Monday onwards. Another question is from the Krapia. The question is how it will be useful with .NET developers. Well, the entire presentation is meant for beginners who want to learn or learn something new. So as being the .NET developer, if you want to learn something new, which is easy and requires less coding, less development time, and less debugging and easier handling, then you can look forward to this. It would definitely develop your interest into PHP as well as Joomla. Next question from Pallav is, can we change the footer of a Joomla site by creating a Joomla module? Yes, you can. And ideally, I recommend that you should create the site structure as modular as possible, not too much modular, but as modular as possible. So yes, the footer message could be placed in a Joomla module. The best way to do it would be using the custom HTML module, which is default available in the module manager, and you can do this. Another question from Sujesh is, would you tell us how what are the new SEO setup in Joomla 2.5? Joomla was already having default SEO functionalities in it with the help of htaccess enable option and URL rewriting. The another thing which is added in the Joomla 2.5 is the facility to add a custom file extension. So now instead of using a third-party extension to add file extension like .html to your pages, you can do it easily from the Joomla itself. Apart from this, on the module menu articles and each label, you can define the meta tags, which gives you a great flexibility. With this way, on each label, you can define the meta tags for the SEO purpose. This allows you to create tags for internal linking for SEO purpose, and it helps in the SEO. The next question from Indrajit is, can I use Joomla as a tool to design the presentation tier of an e-commerce application which is going to be using Java, C++ at the mid and end tiers? Yes, ideally you can do this. As I already covered this question, you would need to create a web integration with the help of some web service or some API call, and you would be able to do this. Next question from Renise Ahmed is, how can I upgrade Joomla 1.5 to 2.5? I have already covered it in one of these slide, either previously or in the upcoming slide. I just try to show you that screen. Okay, I have not included the link. I would share a link with you with all of you to provide the instructions on how to upgrade Joomla 1.5 to 2.5. It's very easy. You can do it. It will take some time, but yes, you can. Next question from Mohan Kumar is, is it possible to create a shopping cart using Joomla? Yes, it is very possible and very easy as well. You can do the simple Joomla installation, and then there are a couple of extensions available. Like one of the popular Joomla extension is Virtumart. With the help of Virtumart, you can simply set up an e-commerce site in a matter of minutes. Next question I have from Mr. Ajay. He's asking, how is Joomla better than WordPress, and which is better for which scenario? This is a very complex question. Whenever it comes to the CMS comparison, it is always difficult to define which is better and why. But when we talk about the difference between Joomla and WordPress, we can try to identify based on some of the parameters. These parameters allow us to check the loading time, the compatibility to handle a load. Apart from this, we find that the WordPress site is much more suitable for a blog or for a small site. But when it comes to a complex site where more than 150 pages are involved, the WordPress starts getting a little slower. And in this case, Joomla has much more advanced caching mechanism which is inbuilt into this. It provides a faster response with this is one of the criteria. And if you have more than 50 extensions on WordPress, you would find that WordPress would be drastically slow. At the same time, with 50 plus extensions, Joomla would be running almost fine. Yes, it depends on server configuration as well. Apart from this, there is a difference in the SEO. Yes, WordPress definitely beats Joomla in the SEO part. apart from this, there is the like I have already covered the performance part and the SEO part of it. Apart from this, we can cover the different other aspects, like the installation time required for the WordPress is much less. And for if we cover up, if we take example of some scenarios, if you want to set up a microsite, or you want to set up a blog, or you want to do something to promote quickly, then we should use WordPress. But if it is much more complex and it is going to be act like a mini application in itself, like if you want to set up an e-commerce site, I would recommend you to move to Joomla instead of WordPress. Yes, with the latest versions of WordPress it is supporting, but with the Joomla functionality and the features, you would be better able to handle it in Joomla. Apart from this, there are a couple of other things, like the extensibility of Joomla is simply a vast. Like you can set up forums, blogs, e-commerce store, a portal, an emailers management system, a microsite, or there could be different other examples, a sports site, or could be anything. This can also be done with the WordPress, but with the limited functionality. You can't have the add-on features really at so quick. Next question is from the Mohan. He is saying, I need your blog address. Yes, I have already typed it in the PPT. I would move to the next screen so that you can see my blog address. Before we move to the blog address, I would like to recommend you to look into the next steps. Get your server environment ready, install and experiment Joomla, check some online references, get a book, not the boring one, but the interesting for the Joomla. Visit Joomla JD, which is the Joomla extension directory, forums, user groups, help each other and learn from the experts. And here is my blog address and the Twitter handle. You can contact me anytime on this blog, and you can find me on Twitter at this Twitter handle. So if there is any question, you can easily find me here. So I personally thank to all the people who have managed to join the time this. I'm sharing this last slide for the people who want to go further with this Joomla. They can download XMPP over here with this link. They can find Joomla here. This is Joomla extension directory, forum, magazine, documentation. This is very useful for beginners. I would recommend some people to go through this Joomla 2.5 essential training as well. This is the video which was shared by one of my colleagues, and I really liked it. There is another beginner's guide which is available on this link, and another developer guide which you can access it. So there are some references which would be very helpful for you. That's all from my end. So if you have anything else, please let me know.
Thanks, Mr. Gore, for your session on component and module development in Joomla 2.5. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on tegic.com by Monday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.